Hey everyone, this is David from 4X Alchemist, coming to you with another expert guide for Endless Space. Today we're going to be doing the Cravers, the first 30 turn of Cravers, the Galactic Plague. So here we're going to be starting our normal configuration of 10 competitors, endless difficulty, huge galaxy, and a random size. So let's get started. So first of all, as we let this load in, I'm going to talk a little bit about what the Cravers are and what makes them special. So the Cravers are known as this horrible galactic plague, and they use planets and deplete them, and that's kind of their special characteristic. So we're going to open up their management view, so you see that they have an ability called slave drivers, which means any non-Craver population that's on a planet that has a Craver on it gives -10 happiness to the system, but also produces double FIDs, which is awesome. And then Cravers themselves, as you can see if I open up their starting place, produce 1.5 times their original FIDs on undepleted planets, but the planets with Cravers on them start accumulating these depletion points, and once they reach 150 or whatever their max is, the max scales on original planet size, the planet becomes depleted and it just becomes normal for everyone. So what you want to do is have Cravers on undepleted planets, and if you have the spare happiness, driving some slaves to crank out that additional system, or additional FIDs. The Cravers start with the best starting technology, as you've seen our other videos, which is xenolinguistics, opening up the xeno-industrial infrastructure to get that juicy early industry. And since they start on a jungle, you get the nice fertile bonus to get a base of 20 industry if you build this right off the bat. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So yeah, a little overview of our starting system. We have a step, which will also give us the extra temperate bonus from our xeno-industrial infrastructure. So we're going to probably want to rush that. With Cravers, you especially want to rush a second planet in your starting system, because as you can see, we start with our original planet, the Husk, mostly depleted already. It's already at 112.5 out of 50, gaining 2 depletion points per turn. So we actually have 19 turns until this becomes depleted and our early game advantage is gone. So before that 19 turns expires, we really want to get onto this step planet here. Secondly, the Cravers start with 3 ships, 2 scout ships, and their colony ship, just like everyone else. We see that we have three what are these called? Curiosities on our starting system. So what we're going to do to grab some extra experience is throw our general, our hero, into a fleet, put both of these guys in there, and then start using oh, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. We're going to do 1 fleet. We're going to use both of these to do, say, this step, since that's going to be our first priority. And that gets us some red sang and, ooh, a failed curiosity. That's unfortunate. And then what we're going to do is change it from the engine and guns into just a normal, what my brother and I call the booper, which is just a double probe to give it lots and lots of scouting capabilities. And what you can do is you can spend your early gold. You start with 100, you can spend 80 gold to upgrade that, and look at that, boom, you get 4 more probes early game. So we're going to spend 1 more to get that 3rd curiosity, and then we're going to switch out, ooh, that's amazing for us. For Cravers, since you're going to want to be going aggressive early, which I'll show in a second, getting these weapon modules is the best possible thing you can get early game. So now that we have all of these curiosities used, or scouted with this 1 ship, we have our 2nd ship here that still has full movement speed. So what we're going to do is remove our used scout from the hero's fleet and just switch in this new scavenger right in there. And look at that, he's got movement speed, they've got probes. Let's send him out on an adventure. So we're going to take him, let's see, we got a donut-shaped galaxy. Let's take him up in this direction. And this guy has still 2 more probes, so we'll send 1 down there, and might as well send 1 up there as well, since we have some extras. I usually like to keep my colony ship. If I don't see a good place on the first turn, I usually let him stick around here for 1 or 2 turns, so that I can get a good place, starting out to get the best advantage. For research, as I said earlier, we really want to be getting towards this step. So we're going to start with public-private partnerships and then move into steps here. This is usually what I start with regardless, because getting this early science, since we start on a jungle, which is a planet and it is fertile, it's going to give us 20 bonus science, which in the early game is fantastic. It's almost doubling our science output anyways. So we'll at least start on that, and I can discuss other options as they become available. Additionally, since we have our autocracy, which is the special Craver government, where only major political populations can vote, and anarchy can't happen. That means regardless of how angry your people get, there will never be anarchy, and your government will never change. You'll never have that period of unrest. You can make people as mad as you want, and you only get the food and influence penalty. So what we're going to do is implement some unhappiness penalties to generate some more gold early on, since we used it early. You might notice that we are generating 47 dust per turn. I'm going to interchange dust and gold constantly because I just do that. And that's due to having an undepleted planet, having our Cravers producing their 1.5 times, and a slave population producing double. So that's fantastic. Last thing we want to do on our first turn is create our first military ship. We are the Cravers, and we have a huge advantage of having 6 command points as our original base. That is enormous. That's 1.5 times any other race. So we really want to use that early. And the way we're going to do that is creating a combat ship out of our original starting scout ships. I like to stick with the bug theme, so I call these the Locusts. Locust class. And awesome that we started with these improved lasers. So you do 2 weapon mods, engine obviously, and then a defensive mod. I usually like to start with armor, because most early pirates, and that's what you're going to be fighting mostly, most pirates have armor plating and not shields. So this is actually the perfect combination, because we're going to be doing energy damage, which will bypass their armor plating, and they'll be doing physical damage to us, which will be absorbed by our armor plating. So now I think that concludes turn 1. There's a lot of things you have to do for Cravers on turn 1. So turn 2. Yep, since we're on endless difficulty, one of the other Craver empires always gets 100 dust per turn because endless cheat. So let's move our dudes. What do we got here? Ooh, another step. That's fantastic. Since we're going to be rushing this anyways, that's fantastic for us. Really good to see. Now we'll send our other ship. Ooh, what do we have here? And ash, lava. Not exactly exciting. Alright, so what we're going to do is send this guy over here, and then we know that at least for one node away, we don't have any class 0 planets here or class 0 planets here. So we're going to send our colony ship this way, I think. Yeah, might as well. We see that our hero levels up, and even though Cravers are renowned for their battle potential, they also have the best overall, best early game FIDS skill, which is called Forced Labor. And it's a 2-level system that's plus 10 food and plus 10 industry. or plus 10 food per planet and plus 10 industry on the system, which is insane. It goes up to plus 20 food and plus 20 industry. And that's just absolutely nuts. It's going to catapult us way, way forward in the beginning of the game. And so we're going to get both of those and then transition into the more militaristic side for this guy, because he gets plus 40% projectile damage later on, 20% health, 40% damage, you know, all of these great things that eventually will make him a military powerhouse. But really what we're going to use in early game is for this FIDS industrial bonus to get us a good start in the game. Excuse me. So, that's moving, everything's moving along. I think that's it for turn 2. Let's see. This is fantastic. I love finding new neutral civs in the early game, because since we are militarists, we have our Jingoist Joy bill as our base law, which gives us plus 15% per war. And since there's no real penalty for, we don't have a 20 influence yet, but since there's no penalty for declaring war on neutral civs, they're not going to be producing more pirates or anything, so you can just declare war on these guys for free, grab free 15 happiness, and that's going to help you out pretty nicely. We got this guy here. We can search some more curiosities. Just doing this, and we've had some problems with getting that first person to explore 10 curiosities. So I'm going to be counting on this one. So now we are at 7 with these, or sorry, we are at 5 with these two. So we had the 3 on the first turn, and we just got 2 more. So 5. All right. So we're going to continue on our explorations. And so we have 5 and now 6. Ooh, that's going to be fantastic. I love seeing transvines, because one of the Cravers' major things is that their slave driving causes a whole lot of unhappiness. These transvines can eventually be used to upgrade your civilization or your system to rank 2, and you can use these to get a bonus 25 happiness, which means 2.5 free slaves, which is great, great, great for us. And once again, we're just going to send out probes down one of these star lanes, and then we're going to pick the other one to keep exploring. Alright, this is a little bit unfortunate, since I made the call to send my colony ship down this way, and it just dead ends into a neutral civ. Not exactly ideal, but it's not going to hurt us that bad in the game, in this game. So, we're just going to keep trucking along. You see that we're making our industrial plant pretty quickly, which is, as always, amazing. We have our Craver industrialism to thank at the beginning. We also got this free population from one of our curiosities, which is amazing. It gives us, it basically counts as 2, since he's being driven by slave drivers, and it's not putting us into unhappiness yet. So bonuses all around. Greatness. Alright, so we'll just bring him back to here, because we don't know where we want to send him yet. What do we have over here? Another steps. Alright, so this definitely, we now have 3 colonizable steppe planets in our general area. So we have 1 here, we have 1 in our main place, and we have a nice one over here. This is probably going to be our target for one of our early colonies if we don't find something better soon. Yeah, so I think we can just keep moving on. Really what we're looking for are minor civs to conquer early and good places to colonize early. So this is the first chapter of the Craver's mission, and you have the option to destroy this kind of rogue Craver vessel and get a whole bunch of early titanium, or you have to set up a trap for it and capture it, and then you get a random luxury, 60 of a random luxury resource, which the specific resource changes every time. I have found that capturing it is by far the best option, because then you actually get the ship, and the ship itself is absolutely incredible. So I'm going to click this, and I can show it to you in a second. Oh, and we just found the Empire. Where is he? Oh, he's right over here, taking the place that I wanted. with a Terran and a Savannah and a Snow. Ooh, that place is really good. Yeah, so now let's find this ship. Okay, so here's the ship. You can see it has 11 movement speed, 264 power, and 205 defense, which is incredibly good, and it costs 3 command points early game. Compare that to our Locusts, which have 75 attack power and 56 defense, and that's with already finding an upgraded weapon module. So this thing is going to blow every other early game ship out of the water, and since we have increased command points, we'll be able to pair this with 3 Locusts and just be the dominant force in the galaxy. Very Star Wars-esque there. Alright, we got a nice Mediterranean planet. So this is going to give us access to tundras. This one's Mediterranean, so we're going to grab this one next. Hello. There we go. We're going to grab that one next, and then we'll see what we want to do from there. Alright, so the way that you capture this thing is that you have to set up a blockade and let it move into your blockade. So even if I set up a blockade right now, it's not going to matter, because he's just going to move out of it. Yeah, see, just like that. Alright, so we got some more curiosities. That's 8 and 9, just so we're still keeping track. So, oh, that is the one advantage. I didn't think about this before. But since we took all the weapons off of this Scavenger 2, the one that I updated, it actually can't set up a defensive perimeter, so I can't catch this guy with that ship. That is something I have not encountered before. Interesting, interesting, interesting. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. We shall see. It might make me want to make a couple Locusts early. And you can see that since they're made out of that initial scouting ship, they're only 163 industry, so you make them super quick with your undepleted planets. So this is really great. Alrighty, so yeah, that's an interesting situation that I have not run into before. Usually I have my other scout ship kind of around here, and I usually do it with that. Alright, moving right along. Let's see, so we got our private-public partnerships, working on those. The big risk, or one of the big risks with this frickin' ship run around, is that he can attack your ships. He doesn't do it all the time, but I have had games where it just goes, kills a ship here, and since it has 11 movement speed, kills a ship here, and then next turn kills a ship here, and you just don't have time to move or do anything about it because it's just so much faster than you are. So picking the intercept option is definitely much riskier, but getting this ship is just simply incredible. It will change the game very much in your favor. Alrighty, so not having this guy being able to make blockades is actually kind of screwing me up. But that's okay, we will adapt. So what I'm going to try and let happen is this turn I'm going to let this guy, yep, so hopefully he does not set up a barricade. And since there are no, you can see that there are no curiosities on this one, we're just going to move through. Oh, I guess he left already anyway, so no big deal, no chance of dying there. As long as he doesn't stay in this next system for the next couple turns, he'll probably leave somewhere else, and then I can come catch him later. Alright, so we have rare earth forms in 3 turns, which is going to give us access to the Mediterranean. So we're going to move our colony ship right down here, and that will be 1 turn late, but pretty good. We'll grab this. We'll grab this nice medium Mediterranean with this beautiful cyberflora and double strategic resources. So we're at turn 7, so we're almost able to get our hero back and start using that wonderful forced labor point that we have earned by exploring some of these things. So yeah, he's almost level 3, right? Yeah, about 2/3 of the way there. Yeah, so that was 10. Right? Am I losing count? I think that was 10. I think that was 10 curiosities, and we did not get the achievement, so something's screwy, and I don't know what it is. Interesting. So I think this is the Empire's main place right here. So, and then they took this one as their first colony, obviously. So they're really close to us. So this tells me that I'm going to go super offensive very early on with with this ship and my early power with getting these locusts. I am going to get this autonomous construction as my third tech, which is going to give us an additional 3 command points, putting us up to 9, which is over, double what they're going to have. So we're going to be able to destroy them. Tanks, which are super effective, they do double damage against ground infantry troops during invasions. And the most important thing is going to be this titanium A2S slugs. And what we're going to do is create a sieging ship, which will be able to very quickly whittle down the enemy's manpower and make our invasions much easier. So we can do a quick succession of invasions without losing too much manpower on our fleet. Hopefully I'll be able to demonstrate that correctly as soon as I'm able to capture that ship. So, I forgot to move this guy. Little sloppy. But we're moving right along. Okay, so, interesting. Another guy down here. Alright, so we got our first locust. And the other great thing about these guys is that they're so fast. Base of 6 movement speed. So we can get him over here. Hopefully, no. So this guy's running away. It might be a couple turns before we can catch him. Hopefully he starts coming back here, and we can catch him right here would be optimal, because then he only has one way to get up. So what my plan is that take this locust, bring him right here, set up a blockade, and hopefully he just comes back and runs straight into it. That's the hope. Whether it turns out or not, well, that's for the future to tell. Alright, we'll send off a probe, see if we can scout something over there, and head on out. No ships that are idle, so I think we can move on. Oh, actually, yeah. We're going to want that, and we're working on these. So after this autonomous construction, as I said, we're going to want to work towards steps as quickly as possible. I'm wondering if it's worthwhile to switch these two. Because we really want to get this second planet while we still are undepleted here, because colonizing these stage 2 planets costs a whole bunch. I think it's like 320 infrastructure. And once depletion sets in, our industry is going to drop considerably. So I think it might be worth it. I mean, even if we delay it for, what's it going to be, a couple turns, like 4 or 5 turns, once we also get our science thing, what's it called, the public-private partnerships, that time's going to go down significantly. So I'd say it's probably going to delay us for maybe 4 turns on getting autonomous construction. That should still be fine, because we're going to want to get the public-private partnerships and then start pumping out a couple locusts to fill out our attack fleet, and only then will we be able or be ready to start producing those invader ships, what I'm going to call termites, and I'll show you them once we get there. So this should actually work out okay, especially since we're taking the extra time to catch this ship. So that's what I'm going to do. I switched getting our step planet to right after rare earth foams, and then I'm going to get autonomous construction after that. Alright, yeah, and so we didn't get lucky. We didn't get any tier 0 planets to colonize, so not the perfect start, but we should be okay. Alright, we got the Maris right down here. They're nice, easy pickings. Oh, perfect. So he's coming back this way. He does have 11 movement speed, but I don't think he can make it here in 1 turn. And since I can make it to Malal, however you pronounce that, in 2 turns, I don't know if that's the correct choice, because he's going to move here next turn, and then I'm going to be there, and then only if I get there and set up a blockade before he moves will I get that. I think I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to try for it. Alright, how are we doing over here? This guy's still moving along. Turn 9. So as soon as this guy gets to this planet, we can search some more curiosities and then pull him off the fleet and put him in here. Alright, we'll have another locust coming down the pipe just in case he gets past our first one. We'll be there to catch him with the second one. Alrighty. Next thing. So we're at turn 10, so we're a third of the way through the video already. Okay. And something that I forgot to do a little bit earlier, which I talked about, was declaring war on these neutral civilizations, because there's really no penalty to them, so you want to do it both times. And that is 30 free happiness right there. And you can see that we are already up at 63 happiness, even with 2 slaves. And if we can get one more neutral civ, or when we declare war on the Empire up here, that's going to put these guys into happiness, which will give us bonus food and influence, which, as you can guess, is fantastic. Alrighty. So our guy is here, and we can settle that Mediterranean that we got the tech for, and so that's fantastic. We already have a whole bunch of money because we're Cravers, so we're going to obviously accelerate this. 13 turns, not that big of a deal, which will go down significantly since we're producing so much food up here in Cert. We're sending 44, which is really good early game. Not too shabby. Alrighty, do these guys have anything here? Nope. So let's just keep on exploring. Alrighty, and we got this, so we'll use our last probe to explore this. Wow, they had a good start. I really want this place. Ooh, I really want this place now. Alright, so now that we've expended all of our probes, we'll pull him back and throw him in here. And look at that, 112 industry on turn 10. That is glorious, and it's just going to go up by 10 more once he hits level 3 from that second level, which is great. Alright, moving right along. I don't know why I keep saying that. Okay, so this is an important turn, and we're just going to be clicking this move as fast as we can in order to get our guy in position. Damn, I missed it. Ah, these stupid pop-ups. Yeah, so what I wanted to do is get him here. Oh, I might get that in time. Anyways, so now that he's trapped in between these two guys, I'm going to catch him next turn no matter what, which is great. So yeah, what I wanted to do there was get this guy to move, get in position, and put up my blockade before he moved. And that is just a matter of clicking this enough times and then having him selected already, and then getting his guard up in time. And it's kind of hokey because, you know, the AI is supposed to move before we do, but sometimes while they're moving, since I'm the only player here, I can do it before them, and it's kind of weird. That interaction's kind of weird. But I had a whole bunch of pop-ups and couldn't do it correctly. Yeah, so here we found another neutral civilization, so obviously we just instantly declare war on them. And I think that should get us up to happy. Yeah, so that's 10% extra food and influence on the system, which is, as you know, fantastic. Yeah, and again, we have no penalty for declaring war on these guys because they don't produce any extra pirates from being at war. So, alrighty, we're going to be able to complete this. Yep, so you saw how he ran into our blockade there, so we caught him here, got our free 20 blue cap mold, and now we have to bring this ship back to our home place, which is super easy because it has 11 frickin' movement speed, so he's there in 2 turns. And we don't need to do this anymore, so we'll bring our locust back to join up with him. We have our hero who just gained his 2nd level, so once again moving up to plus 20 on each of those, which is great. We are almost finished with machine bacteria, which means we can start doing this soon. Ooh, wow, that's taking a little bit longer than I hoped. Yeah, so that detour into rare earth forms to get the Mediterranean colonization early game, it was very unfortunate. The fact that we found 0 level 0 planets in our immediate area and couldn't just go straight for the step planets. It's really kind of screwing us up. So unfortunately, we're not going to get our second planet before our home planet becomes depleted. So this is going to be delayed a little bit, but we've already pumped out a bunch of our locusts, so you know we'll survive. We'll be okay. So now we got a battle here. Yeah, you can see that even our basic scavenger that we started with has 33 power, which is pretty strong. So it can even take on some of these guys. Usually the general rule is if they are 75% of the power and you're 25 or less, it means that if you try to fight them, they're going to kill you. But if you're slightly more than that, you can fight them and still survive. So I'm going to use Turtle because they are all physical damage, so this should allow me to survive. Well, I guess not that time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Not a big deal. I probably should have just retreated because it would have thrown me down here anyways, but I wanted to try and prove the point, but I failed. Alrighty, that's unfortunate a little bit, but I'm going to be sending my fleets over there soon, and they'll do the exploring for me, so no big deal. No major harm. I'm done. Alright, and we have the end of the constellation down here. Ooh, lots of nice curiosities to explore there. Got some XP, permanent monsoon, and ooh, an extra person. Yeah, so now we definitely have more than 10 curiosities explored, and still no one has gotten that achievement, so I really have no idea how that thing works. But it's obviously either something I don't understand or it's just a little buggy. I'm gonna err on the side of bugginess. But yeah, so now we've brought this intruder ship back to our home planet. You just disband it, and that allows your scientists to study it. So you do that, you gain access to this thing called the Hive Hall, which allows you to assign heroes to planets for no upkeep cost, which can save you some dust later on. But the biggest thing is now you have the choice to either investigate this husk that you found or restore it. If you restore it, you get him as a hero, and he starts at level 5. He's pretty strong. His base abilities are +2 movement speed to your fleets, and I believe it's +2 armor absorption. I don't remember his other good level one, but basically he's a pretty good hero. And this is what I started with because I really liked having the 2 heroes, but I've recently moved towards the Infinity Shield instead. And this is kind of a crappy shield. It only gives 120 shield capacity and 12 energy defense, but the biggest thing is that +30% health bonus. And it's not that big of a deal now, but when you apply one of these to one of your bigger ships, it's an enormous health bonus. And it's going to make your ships much tankier and much better to survive multiple battles, especially if you pair that with a support ship that's going to be healing them for a percentage of their health, either every round or after each battle. So I like to go with the Infinity Shield now, but both are still pretty good choices. So now you have to obtain the 2 marked systems. They're usually neutral colonies, so yeah, it's going to be that one, which we are going to take anyways, and this one, which we'll take on our way through the Empire. So now we gain control of this frickin' super ship. This thing is gorgeous. So we're going to create a fleet, and these guys are coming up. That will be here next turn, and that will be here the turn after. Just these 2 ships are still going to be strong enough to fight any pirates that come at us. So we're going to move them up and start taking Orion right now, and then these locusts can just meet us up there. And we'll just do that. Alrighty, so this guy is not doing anything. Oh, we already used him. Who's not doing anything? Oh, it's him. Oh, yeah, we got our science, still making money. How is our happiness? Yep, still good. And okay, moving on. Let's see. Alrighty. So now this is kind of the blitzkrieg phase of the Cravers. This is when you want to be pumping out a bunch of ships and really leveraging your early game power. This early 6 CP and this early super ship right here. Because, yeah, this thing is absolutely incredible, and I have just dominated both AI games and versus PvP games with that ship. It just gives you so much early power. It's very, very hard to defend against. And it just, you gotta use it. You gotta use it or lose it. So, we're gonna use it. Alrighty. That guy can just stick there. I'm gonna wait for him to get one more probe next turn, and then I'm gonna send it over here to discover this neutral civ, to declare war on them and get some free happiness. Because that will put this guy up to ecstatic, which is great. Ooh, I made a mistake there. You always want to have a queue of things to build, because right there, all of my extra industry, the surplus industry after finishing this last locust, was wasted, where I could have put that towards either another locust or maybe this cerebral reality, you know, something that I'm going to build later on. But we just finished our technology that lets us colonize steppes, so that's exactly what we're going to do. Yeah, so it's going to take 4 turns where it would have taken maybe 3 or probably even 2 with 4 Cravers on an undepleted planet, but again, we'll survive. Alright, so yeah, we've gone towards autonomous construction, so that's great. Move our stuff. Yeah, so these guys are lasers, so Turtle's not going to help us, but since we also don't have any shields, that's not going to help. Power to the shields also isn't going to help us. So we have to, I guess, revive and rebuild is probably the best choice. I forgot to switch this out because this thing's kind of crap. So yeah, we'll just fight this, and our big ship's just going to absolutely wreck them. Yeah, didn't even take any damage, really. And, oh, we had 2 sets, so same thing. Revive and rebuild. Oh, I probably should have done Turtle there, because that guy had some projectile damage. Alright, so we are now blockading Orion, whatever. So we blockade it, and we're going to be doing 8 damage per turn, which is not a lot. I really had hoped to have autonomous construction done by now, because then we could have our sieger guys that do 15. But that will have to come a little later. Alright, this guy's leveled up again, and since we're going to be going to war super early, I want to... actually, since we got those early laser turrets, this 20% projectile damage actually isn't going to be that useful, because since this has 2 levels, it goes up to 40%. So even a 40% buff on our starting projectile guns are not going to be as good as our awesome early laser turrets. I'll just pull those up so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. Yeah, so these laser things do 13% damage, and these only do 6. So a 40% increase of 6 is going to be a little less than 3. So these will be doing 9 damage, or these are doing 13. So we're obviously going to want to stick with these. So we don't actually need our hero to have the increased projectile damage yet, which puts us in an interesting position. We can either start transitioning him for his eventual military role, because as you can see, his endgame Guardian, they're great military generals. Or we can keep him as an economic powerhouse, because the Craver economic stuff is actually pretty good. So you have obviously this forced labor that we've been leveling up. You have Lucky Windfall, which gives you more influence. You have defending troop health, which isn't that great. But the real big one is this last one, which is +8 depletion points, so your planets become depleted faster, but you get +32% FIDs on depleted planets. So the more depleted planets you have, actually you still get a benefit. You still gain benefits even if the planets are depleted. So this guy isn't a horrible economic hero, but he's not great. But even that being said, I think I'm gonna stick with him in this case, doing the economy, since we're a little bit behind because of that Mediterranean tech that we had to grab. So yeah, so we're gonna do a economic thing, grab some more industry, since it's +10 per system, +10 per hot, and we start on a jungle. That's actually gonna be pretty useful early game. Alrighty, so we have our one scout ship left. It should have a probe. It does indeed. Alright, we found those guys. Hey guys, we're at war now. Great. Alright, and that's kind of his job. Job well done, guy. Alright, maybe we can start sending them up here again. Start scouting this guy. We also want to make another pupa. Let's see, actually we might want to switch those two around. Let's see, how much more time? 8 turns. We have our supply ships coming in, so I'm going to guess that that's going to be about 3 turns, or probably more like 4 turns until that's done. Yeah, then that'll give this a little bit of time to recover. We'll see. We'll see. We'll throw that up in the air. We might do half of the step colonization and then pump out a pupa since it only takes 1 turn, and send that up here so that we can take this nice big step with the transvines and start getting those. Okay, so moving on. Let's see, ooh, we're losing some gold now. What happened there? Oh, it's probably military upkeep. Military upkeep is, yeah, really high for this stage in the game because we have so many ships. But yeah, so you can see that even, each ship only adds a couple, probably two damage to their guys per turn. So these just normal little ships are not very good at sieging. We really need those specialists in order to take this down fast. So once we get over here, we're really going to want to have that sieging infrastructure already set up. So that's something I want to get ASAP. Alright, not really much to do. Let's see, so after this, since we've been building up our... Ooh, we're probably going to want this too. So let's see, so after that we're going to want to get this Hyperium and these interplanetary network. Although now we're having dust problems, so we're definitely going to want galactic commodities at some point. We'll have to, the order of these two will really depend on our money, our dust situation a little bit later down the road. But for now we can just put them both in queue and continue on. So yeah, because unfortunately right now we're not utilizing this this Hyperium that we have in Cancer system. It's not being put into our stores because we don't have the technology done, obviously. Alright, so now we have this fleet, which is pretty enormous at this stage of the game. 488 power, and that's even before we added our last 2 locusts. So we are super powerful. Super duper powerful. Yep, 4 turns as I predicted, with another one on the way. We actually should probably bump that up and get... Did that say 2 turns? That's probably because, yeah, I think 3 turns should be fine. Because really what we want is to get that undepleted planet as soon as possible, and then we can start cranking out some more stuff. So we'll just delay that for 1 turn. It's not going to be that big of a deal. And if the Empire beats us here, I mean, again, not that big of a deal because we're just going to be attacking them anyways. Alright, so that guy's moving there. How are these guys doing? So, I'm wondering if I can spare the manpower. I have 85. It's not a lot. I'm wondering if I can spare the manpower to take these guys by force. And I think I can, because this is just going too slowly. I have 4 turns until autonomous construction's done. I want to get these guys starting to be in position to be over here by the time that's done and start killing the fleets of these guys, so that when my termites come in, my siegers come in, that they're all prepped and ready. So I think I'm going to try invading this now, and if it backfires horribly, well, then lesson learned. Alright, yeah, so you can see that they only have 32 guys to my 100. So we're going to do some preemptive bombing, hopefully preserve some of our dudes. Yeah, did a whole bunch of damage to them, didn't take much damage here. So yeah, I think we should be fine and take it next turn. This is finishing next turn, that's finishing next turn. We have the pupa already done. Okay. so the thing that I'm most concerned about right now is that negative dust per turn. That's kind of concerning. Alright, so since now they only have 9 people, super low, we're just going to do a guerrilla so we can make sure not to kill anyone unnecessarily or ruin any of the infrastructure they've built up nicely and take minimum damage to our troops. And there we go, we got them. Let's see, I don't actually know what their thinkers and tinkers plus... Oh, that's pretty cool. So what that does is that when you have these two technologies linked, so if you have this one costs 25% less, but with that thinkers and tinkers trait, if you have this one costs 45% less. So it makes these links incredibly valuable, or even more valuable than they already are. Alright, so we have 2 turns left on autonomous construction, so we're going to grab all of these guys and get them moving in this direction. So we're going to want actually one more locust. Interesting, these guys are getting... Oh yeah, it's because I forgot to switch them over here. So they are ecstatic, happy. So what do we value more? Do we want the food 105, 120, and 94, or... Yeah, I think having the ecstatic, even though I'm not using my slave driver passive, having the ecstatic happiness is actually just going to be more beneficial for us in the long term, or in the short term and the long term probably. All right, so we got our cancer. First thing, ooh, this is interesting. I really wish I had plasma metallurgy done, because I would have built that instead of the xeno-industrial plant, since this is neither temperate or fertile, since Mediterranean is the worst of the tier 1s. So I think I'm just going to build... Should I just take the 10 industry here? I could. I think that might get us started. I can't really think of anything. I think I'm going to do a cerebral reality to get some more science and some more dust, and then just have him pump out some locusts until we finish that tech, and then I can get him taking advantage of these strategic resources. Because the xeno-industrial industry plant thing is really just not that good for that system. Oh, and we have this system that we need to do, which is a tundra. Again, xeno-industrial plant is not that good. Ooh, it has Kessler syndrome. What a piece of crap place. Yeah, so I think I'm going to do the same thing. That these guys are really not going to be all that useful. I actually want a scavenger first, and then these guys. So yeah, these 2 places are really not going to be specifically this one. It's not going to be all that useful until I can get plasma metallurgy and start building these interplanetary transport networks to get 4 people per, or 4 industry per person on this planet, and that's going to be really great. That's going to be great, and that's when that's going to start being useful. But my main economic powerhouse is going to be right here with its massive 120 industry per turn. Alright, so we got our pupa to go take GM. Ready, construction, yeah. Our scavenger here. Alright, so that's just finding the... Oh wait, we're on the ash, not the tundra. Oh my god, the tundra is absolutely garbage. So you get this, I've seen this quest all the time, is you either take -5 science for 10 turns, so -50 science, to have an 80% chance of discovering 150 dust, or you can just take the 75 dust and not worry about it. And since we want to be rushing, I didn't check how close we are here, but since we're wanting to be rushing, we're a little bit behind on science anyways, and we don't really need the dust. We're just going to take the less dust now and not take the penalties. Yeah, holy crap, this thing is absolute crap. Ugh, that's one of the worst plans I've ever seen. Super duper. Alrighty, I don't have that yet, so we'll just bring him. Got all those searched, so we'll bring him kind of this way, and he can come with us. Okay. Where did all of my ships go? What the hell? Where are all my ships? Oh, there they are. That was weird. Okay. I don't think I need to do anything else this turn. Elections as the Cravers are incredibly boring, because as you can see, we have 100% military support, and we will always have 100% military support, and only my Cravers get to vote. So we'll get military support every single time, which is fine. It's not a big deal. But since we're going into our blitzkrieg super offensive state, we really want these lower fleet costs, which is going to reduce the cost to build our ships. So even our little dinky places in Orion and Cancer here are still going to be able to pump out ships. Not great, but relatively quickly. And they're going to have metallurgy in one turn, so I'll probably do the plant here right off the bat. These guys are producing at least decent, yeah, 55, not horrible, not great, but decent because they're on the ash planet. The problem is that they're not producing any food because they're mutinous, so we'll see. Fortunately, they still get all of the war benefits, but since I just killed one of those neutral places, I'm only getting 45 since I haven't declared war on them yet. But that will soon be remedied. Alright, got our last locust for our 9-person fleet, which is going to be great. Let's start this colony here, which will get us some transvine, so once we're done getting this, we're definitely going to want that and that. So then we can start upgrading to stage 2 systems, and I'll probably use the transvines. The other option would be to use the little bit of red sang that I'm getting from somewhere. I guess, yeah, from here. Red sang gives additional food per person, and the transvine gives happiness. Happiness, I think, is going to be better because that just gives me more slaves, and that will transfer into both food. That will be all FIDs: food industry, dust, and science. So I think that will just be strictly better. Transvine is Cravers are the only ones that I prioritize transvine on in the early stages, because you can do that little slavery thing, which is pretty great. Not for the slaves, obviously, but for us, since we are the overlords. Alrighty, so now we have these guys. That is a powerful fucking army at turn 22. Yeah. So, one last thing I forgot to do last turn. I can create these siegers that I've been talking about. So I call them termites, if I can type. Termite class. So you take your normal colony ship that just has these three support modules. You put on some boosters and 2 of these guys, and that means each one of these ships is going to be doing 30 manpower damage per turn. And you saw my entire fleet was doing like 12 or something. So 30 in the early game is enormous. And they're super cheap, only 218 and 2 titanium. So now that we have those, we're going to want to crank a bunch of them out. So I like to start with 4, and that 120 damage. Most places only have 200 manpower at the beginning, anyways. It should tell us here. Yeah, you can see where it says efficiency 100%, 200 of 200. So these 4 termites will do 120 of that 200 manpower every turn, which is just absolutely absurd. It means I can siege for 1 turn and then invade and take very little damage to my manpower of my main fleet. So we are going to move in this direction and get these guys just fighting the Empire stuff, since no one can really contest me right now. I'm just too powerful, too strong. These guys are going to be the replacements because my locusts are fairly squishy, so they are. I might lose a couple, so I want to have a few of them in some reinforcements on their way in. These guys I might have stick around here just to be annoying to these guys, to the Lumeris, because well, that's what Cravers do. We're annoying. All right, but we are quickly approaching the turn 30. I'm glad I got to this this early war. Definitely want this study because I believe this gives you a 15 industry on all of your places for like 20 turns. It's absolutely amazing. Always, always, always click study, even though it does a little bit of damage to one of your fleets. Yes. So I'm glad I got to show you guys my early game termite strategy because I came up with that and I'm pretty proud of it, as well as my early locust strategy. This early scavenger scout ship, using them as military ships so that you can skip the actual military ships, because you need, for Cravers, you need 2 technologies to get to your normal military ships. Yeah, as I said, plus 15% on all the colonies in the Empire for 10 turns. Absolutely incredible. So good for this stage of the game. It means we're going to be able to pump out those locusts even faster. Alright, yeah, so as I was saying, for Cravers, in order to get to the standard military soldier class ships, you need 2 technologies, which is going to put you way far behind. I think getting the extra CP and the sieger ships for 1 technology, even though it's a stage 2, a level 2 technology, is just much, much, much better. And then you can swarm them with these weak ships that do a lot of damage but are really easy to produce. And then you also have the ability to take take enemy colonies very quickly. And then since all your main fleet is going to be supported by this the big intruder ship, who's just huge and amazing, it's really going to work out well. I've had it work out very well. So now we're here. Hopefully I might go a little bit past 30 because I really want to show you guys how fast these termites just eat through enemy defenses. So yeah, let's declare war on these guys. Since we're militarist, it's free. So we're at war, which obviously gives us extra happiness. We can barricade this place. So right now, my full fleet of 9 CP is doing only 18 manpower damage per turn. Compare that to my 1 dude over here that's going to be doing 30 damage per turn. So this one guy is better at sieging than this entire massive fleet in the early game, which is just great. That's why those guys are so powerful, and that's why I think rushing autonomous construction is such a great early game strategy for Cravers, because you start with N-Way fusion, which makes this very easy to get early game. Oh, and I actually don't have any manpower. Normally I would also switch over from infantry to tanks, because tanks do 50% additional damage against infantry troops. So this just makes your invasions easier. Even easier than they're already going to be with your amazing sieging to reduce the number of enemy troops. So we got Galactic Exchange, and then we're going to be getting multi-thread management. Fantastic. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we need to queue up. We already have our reduced fleet costs, still getting a bunch of extra money, but since we're at war with a bunch of people, all of our places are still ecstatic. Look at that, plus 60 happiness from wars. Frickin' awesome. Ooh, we have our Xeno Industrial Plant, but since, I might throw that there, because really I want this to be a good place, and getting an additional 4 industry per person on this planet is going to be really good moving into the future. Alrighty, I think that's about it. Normally, if we hadn't had that little setback and I had taken my hero into the more offensive route instead of having him as a governor, he would be leading the attack. So I wouldn't not only have 7 good ships to begin with, but I would also have my upgraded hero on here, and that would give us, you know, a huge advantage over anything. And it still might be worth it. I'm not sure. I kind of want to keep him pumping out those termites, since I was a little slow getting there, as I've talked about a couple times before. Oh, and I also need to change this stupid revive and rebuild, because that's crap. Alright, but we're just going to be turtling up, killing these guys without taking any damage, because we're super powerful, and continuing our blockade. I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to switch to getting lucky, because since we use all, I'll pull these guys up to show you. You see that these things have a 5% critical chance, so you know if they have guys that do energy damage that we don't have a shield against, might as well, you know, take that 5% chance to do a whole bunch of extra damage. So it's probably the best one, you know, but we're going to be using turtle or power to the shields most of the time later game once our ships have both hull protection and a shield. Those are the two that I find that I use most often. Okay, we got some more locusts done here, which are just coming in to reinforce as needed. These guys are pretty far away. They're not going to reach there no matter what, so they're just going to start stockpiling and defending for our eventual war against these guys. I'll probably have a locust army up here that's going to continue and take these neutral civs, and then I'll just take the big ship, since it has 11 movement speed, and pull it down here for the army I'm creating here, and then just immediately attack the Lumeris here since they're pretty weak. And then by that time I'll have baryonic shielding, and I'll just move down and then start taking this neutral civ down here and start expanding into this direction. So that's my plan right now. We'll see how far we get there in the course of this video. Again, right now we're just sieging up, kind of waiting for our termites to get there, so that since we have pretty limited manpower, we really want to just take these down as low as we can, as low as reasonable, so we don't take too much damage from our ship, or for our manpower onto our ships. Because we really want to preserve these as much as possible, preserve the manpower. Because we're going to be doing several successive invasions. We're going to be doing here at Pavo, and then Nalin, and then Rigel, and Estra, yeah. So this is 4 systems all in a row, and we wouldn't be able to just brute force 4 systems. We don't have that type of manpower. So it's really important to do the sieging, getting them down into the double digits if you don't have the time, but I really like getting them down to 0 if you have a whole bunch of these termites, and it's really just like 1 or 2 turns. Alright, so we're continuing on with the governing, using him as a governor. We got another termite cranked out. Yeah, and so since we kept him as a governor, we're now cranking out a termite every turn, which is great. They're only 100, with the fleet law, they're only 180 industry. We're producing 150, so you know, not quite every turn, but pretty damn close. Since we are ecstatic, we can actually move one of these guys over and get some slavery going. These guys don't have any special... Oh, actually, he's producing additional... So we're keeping him on the jungle because he produces additional manpower on fertile, and this guy doesn't do anything additional on fertile or normal, so we'll move him over and use him as the slave, so that we just get the little additional manpower. Not a big deal, but you know, every little bit helps. After these two guys, we're going to leverage our huge early FIDS advantage, having this undepleted planet after these termites are done, to get the wonder. So we can produce it in 18 turns, which is very, very quick at this stage of the game. It just turned 26. So we're going to leverage our ability to have this huge FIDS advantage and get this thing early. And I might actually, once we start working on this, I might move him over to here and to accelerate this even further, or even faster. Alrighty, so we are almost done. We got our scavenger here. Let's move him up here, because these are a couple more curiosities that I can investigate for fun. Alright. Another interesting thing that you can do, and you can do this with all races, is that whenever a colony is it just finished creating, so you saw this one pop up, it just turned from an outpost to a colony this turn, they all start with 0 manpower. So if you have a ship, and it doesn't matter really what ship that is. It can be super weak. If you have a ship arrive at a place where that's turning from an outpost into a colony that turn, and you can just immediately invade it if you're at war with the people, and it's super easy to take. It's just like a free colony. That's a technique that I've used against both AIs and people. They just don't expect you to just come out of nowhere, and if you click on outpost, you can see when they're going to be turning into colonies. You just arrive right when that happens, and you just boom, the colony's yours. So that's a really nice strategy, especially with Cravers, because you're so fast and you're so strong, and you can build up that early aggression very, very quickly and very effectively. So yeah, so that guy's moving in, and boom, it went from 18 to 50. So that's just so much better, and so we're gonna probably sit on this place for 2 more turns, and then take it once their manpower gets down to 46, which is way better than 200. I'm gonna lose many fewer guys, or just fewer guys. That's some bad English right there. All right, I got some more locusts in the train. Made another mistake here because I ran out of the queue, so you don't want to do that. So we got some slavery going on. They're kind of unhappy. An important thing with Cravers is you really want to have 2 planets, because if you run into this unhappiness thing, it's usually because you're losing 20 happiness from your slavery. So if you're if you're happiness challenged, then you can just move all of your non-Cravers to one planet and your Cravers to the other, and just segregate them so that you can maintain some happiness and maintain your growth. But for just these one planet things, it's really not that big of a deal, because unhappiness actually doesn't mean that much, since you can't go into anarchy anyways. So it's fine temporarily. And since we want the industry anyways, we're just going to leave it like that. Oh, but I do need to select something to build. So let's get some more science. Speaking of science, we did this. So, I think I want to get... Happiness is... I'm going to be getting the transvine happiness for this. So that's not that important. Let's get some food. Since we have lots of hot and cold planets, this might be very beneficial. At least in the early game. I think every system is either hot or cold. I have very few actually temperate planets. Yep, so let's get that. And now we have our level 2 modernization. As I said, I think I'm going to be going for transvines, because we really want to maintain that happiness. And as we start killing more people, so like as soon as we take out the Empire and these neutral civs, our happiness is actually going to be a huge problem. What I might do, and something that's kind of clever, is that you find this, the Empire has 3 places. This place is awesome, this place is awesome, and this place is a total piece of crap. But what I might do is just sit a couple of ships on, like a couple of my spare locusts on this colony, and just leave the Empire in existence to milk that 15 happiness for a little while, since they're not going to be able to do crap from that place. They're never going to be able to pose a real threat, so I'll just have them sit on there for a little while until I get my happiness stabilized, and then I'll kill them. And then probably evacuate that system, because it is just absolute crap. A gas, a barren, and then a snow with long seasons. Oh, I guess Tunneled Slipgate's not bad. Yeah, so this thing might be decent. Not great. Not great by any means. It's actually a total piece of crap. I'll probably evacuate that system, just so that it doesn't drag on my happiness later on. And I don't really need it for any reason. Alrighty. So yeah, oh, that was quick. So yeah, now we got the farming thing. Let's start moving towards our actual battleships, because at this point, turn 30, a lot of the other, definitely the AIs will probably have real attack ships, and maybe some of the more aggressive human players will also be moving, at least in that direction. So we want to maintain our military advantage, since we want to keep being aggressive, and we want to start transitioning or start leveraging our still 9 command point power into those attack ships and keep that ball rolling. Because what you really want to be doing is just snowballing your early game advantages using this big ship and your additional access to command points and your additional inherent command points into that advantage. And you really need to be snowballing early as Cravers. So as you can see, now they're down to 56. Or sorry, 96. Reading's hard. And just since this is turn 28 and this is only a 30 turn video, we might as well start an invasion. So you can see I just outclassed them hugely. We're going to do a preemptive bombing because we want to preserve as much of our limited manpower as possible. So we're just going to do it. They probably did a conscription. Yeah, so they did a conscription, so they got 200 extra. But since I did preemptive bombing, did some damage to them beforehand, I only lost a couple guys. So not that big of a deal. We'll continue the invasion and probably take it next turn. What do we got here? This is the scavenger. I thought I told you to go over here. Alrighty, so we got a termite. Oh, I have 2 scavengers. Interesting. Oh, this one's probably one of my original ones. Alright, 20 Hyperium, and Hyperium there. That's going to be a nice place. Alright. Trying to think. Oh, I probably forgot to do this, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I have a whole bunch of gold, so even though I'm only going to get half effectiveness, so that was at 10 turns and now it's 5, I was only going to get half effectiveness with this, but I really want a 2nd place, or I guess this is a 4th place, but my 2nd colony, I really want that. That'd be really nice to have. So we have our termites just trucking along still, and you can see that we'll be ending this wonder at turn 15, which is within our depleted frame. So we probably won't, we're not going to deplete this planet before we're done with our wonder, which is important. Having a planet become depleted in the middle of a wonder is really unfortunate because it kind of throws off all of the calculations that you do beforehand. So this is great. Timing's perfect. Still have this guy over here, so we get a little bit of benefit from slave labor, but we keep everyone ecstatic. Yeah, I don't think there's anything much left to do in this this turn. Maybe we can send a scout down that way just to see what's up. Maybe over there. Alright, we are coming to the end of this video. Hopefully I'll be able to take this place and at least start an invasion on their capital. Look at that. Got that. Let's fight these pirates. Yeah, you can just see that we have absolute overwhelming force against even these more advanced pirates. And especially since we have those awesome bonus lasers, like so few, all of the pirates have coated hulls instead of lasers, and most early people, since they're going to be fighting pirates, they'll also go with the hull protection rather than the lasers. So getting those upgraded lasers is the absolute best curiosity that you can get early game as Cravers. I love it. So I love that came up in this game when I'm doing my video. So yep, so now we've taken his 2nd place, and we still have 6 movement speed left, so now we can pop straight over onto his main place. Fight him here. Look at that overwhelming force. So these are his scout troops with 38 attack power and 63 defense. You can see that they have armor plating and no shields, versus mine, which have 75 attack and 56 armor plating. So I'm just so much more powerful than he is, and I have 9 CP to his available 4. So you can see how this overwhelming force just can absolutely snowball out of control. And so yeah, so there we are, turn 29, and I already have a siege around the capital of a main place. I've taken one minor civ and one colony of a major civ. So yeah, that's kind of how Cravers go, or at least that's how I play them, and I've found quite a bit of success. You can see that, yep, this has 260 manpower base. We're taking out 50 per turn. So I'll probably sit on this for I don't know. So we did this one at 96, and it took 2 turns, and we lost some additional people. Probably if I had just continued sieging for 1 additional turn, I would have taken it in the same. So I would have sat sieging for 1 turn and then taken it the next turn. So I would have gotten it at the same time, but lost less people since I would have only done 1 invasion. So that's probably what I'll do with this one, especially since I have more termites kind of in the pipes. They're on their way up here, so I'll probably sit on this for maybe 3 turns since we're going to be having more termites arrive. So this number is going to go up very quickly. So probably this turn we'll get -50. Next turn it will be -80. So that's 130. That'll take it down to half. And then the turn after that, it will probably be at 50-ish. So I'll set it on it for this turn, next turn, and then I'll invade on turn 31, and I'll probably take it in 1 or 2 turns. So yeah, that is that's what I would mark as a good start for Cravers, taking out your nearest civilization with the best starting planets at about turn 30 to 35. And that's going to give you a huge advantage because, you know, if I hadn't done this kind of blitzkrieg attack, I would have been stuck with my main place, which is kind of okay, this place, which was kind of okay, and then this place, which is, you know, mediocre at best. But now, instead of just having those 3 places, I assimilated a minor civ by force. I have this amazing place that he took with the huge savanna and the Terran, and then his starting place, which is always fantastic with the Terran, but then this also has an ocean and an arid. So I'm getting kind of his start, which is really great, and my start, which is going to let me snowball very quickly. If we want to look at the points, even on endless difficulty, I am the point leader at turn 29. Which is, you know, unheard of for any other race. I have never been able to be the point leader so early on with any other race, and I don't believe my brother has either. So we're gonna be wrapping up this video pretty soon. Last thing I would want to bring up is, so even you might think that I would want to use my my limited numbers of transvines over here in Orion, since they are the least happy. As if we pull this up, you can see that they are the least happy other than this place that I just took. But I'm actually going to use them here in my main place, because as I've said a couple times now, this 25 happiness is actually giving me 2 free slaves. And that means I can bring 2 of these guys, or maybe even 3. I think the cutoff for ecstatic is 85, so I don't think I can bring all 3. But I can bring 2 of these guys over onto this planet, and then they'll start producing double FIDs. And that actually will help this go faster in the long term, even though I'm sacrificing 1 turn to make this modernization. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And that's why, even though these guys are already ecstatic, using the additional happiness here is actually going to have the biggest effect on my empire. So just to wrap things up, let's do this last turn. What are these guys? These have a Terran, so let's get this just for completionism. Yeah. Oh, this guy doesn't have anything to do either. Obviously we want more locusts. And that's it. So turn 30, the end of the video. So let's do a little review, even though I know I did that just last turn. We have built all of the major things in our capital. We are a good chunk of the way into the first wonder, probably being able to do it faster than any other civ. We have taken a minor civilization, 1 system of a major civilization. We already have their capital under siege, and we'll probably be taking it in not this turn, not next turn, but the turn after that. So turn 32, we will probably own the Empire's capital, which is pretty incredible. Also at turn 30, we have the point lead by not a huge, but a significant margin. We're at 220, and the next highest is 201. We have a path of advance. After we take out this Empire capital, we're going to be moving into taking out these 2 these two minor civs, which will give us their really good assimilation bonuses, you know, +5 happiness. Again, more happiness is great for Cravers because that just means you can run more slaves. And selfless, you know, that doesn't really do anything for us because Cravers are actually incapable of signing treaties. So this one's going to be really great. This one's just kind of meh, but it will give us some extra people and an extra system. Big things that I want to review here are the special ships that I make. The Locust class ship, where you get the best weapons that you have early on, with some movement. Ooh, actually, did I do that wrong? Yeah, I forgot to replace these engines. My mistake. These are supposed to have 7 movement speed. Yeah, so you be sure to replace those engines. Yeah, get that 3 movement speeds. They're super quick. So get your 2 weapon slots. I usually use hull plating rather than shields early game because most people, especially pirates, use slugs rather than lasers. And then you can just mass produce these and leverage your early power, the early power of your additional CP, and your access to this amazing tech, autonomous construction, to get 9 command points early in the game, and tanks if you can afford them. The second thing that I want to stress is the creation of these termites. These are the guys with these sieging bits that you get from autonomous construction as well. They cost a little bit of titanium, but hopefully you've secured a source of that by now. And these guys just let you absolutely wreck manpower defenses. So yeah, you remember that when I had just my fleet orbiting this one, it was doing something like 12 damage per turn, 12 manpower damage per turn. But with just 2 of these termite guys, I'm doing 82. And that's just absolutely ridiculous. It's so fast that no one who's not prepared for this already, it's too fast for them to respond at this point in the game. That when I started sieging here, that was 3 turns ago or 4 turns ago, and I've already taken it and I'm already at their place, and there's just nothing that they can do to challenge this 9 CP fleet with 712 power. There's just absolutely nothing that anyone can do. So they either have to predict that that's going to happen and already have a big force built up that will slowly whittle you down, or they lose. And that's the Craver Zergling Rush, the Locust Swarm as I like to call it. Future on in this game, you know, if I were to continue playing this game, as I kind of said earlier, I'm going to take the Empire homeworld, then pull my big ship, since this thing has 11 movement speed, and start sending it down here. I've already started making troops down here, and so once it arrives, I'll have a small fleet already ready. And then as soon as I'm done with the Empire, I'm going to immediately start on the Lumeris, because they're just not strong enough. I think they're probably one of the point trailers. Yeah, they're 158. They're in second last place or third last place. So they're pretty weak. They'll have no way to stand up to me, and then boom, I'll get 2 or 3 easy systems from there. And then I'll have secured my position on this constellation, and I'll be free to start expanding into other ones. But this is going to be my base, and I'm just going to be able to leverage this enormous early game advantage that I've gotten from my early aggression, leveraging my early access to additional command points, and my awesome base class scout units. And I think that's going to be about it. Thank you all for watching 4X Alchemist. Again, I'm David, and these were the Cravers. Thanks for watching.